I'm Michael, a 33-year-old freelance software developer. And for years, my wife Lauren and I had what most people would call a perfect marriage. We lived in Boulder, Colorado, in a cozy house with a view of the mountains, and life felt stable, secure, like nothing could shake us. We were a team, always had each other's backs, laughed at the same dumb jokes, and spent weekends hiking or curled up with a movie. She was my rock, and I thought I was hers. But about a year ago, things started to shift, slow at first, like cracks you don't notice until the whole wall's falling. Lauren's job in corporate sales started eating up more of her time. She'd come home later, her eyes glued to her phone, her tone sharper than it used to be. Little things piled up, her phone always face down on the table, new perfume I didn't recognize, lingerie I never saw her wear for me. I'm not the type to snoop or suspect the worst, but deep down, I felt something was off, like a quiet alarm I couldn't shut off. One night, everything changed. I was helping Lauren unload groceries from her car, just a normal Tuesday, when a bag slipped from my hands. I bent down to grab it, my fingers brushing something under the driver's seat. It was small, stiff, a blank hotel key card, no logo, just a plain white strip with a black magnetic line. My chest tightened as I stared at it, my mind racing for an excuse. Then I saw something else. A crumpled parking receipt wedged near the door pocket, torn but readable, with a timestamp but no address. Lauren doesn't travel for work. Her office is 30 minutes away in Denver. There's no reason for these to be here. I could hear her humming in the kitchen, oblivious, as I stood frozen in the garage. Part of me wanted to storm in, shove the evidence in her face, demand answers. But I didn't. Instead, something clicked. A plan cold and clear. I'd find out the truth my way, and when I did, I'd vanish from her life without a word. I slipped the key card and receipt back where I found them and carried the groceries inside, forcing a smile as she poured herself a glass of wine. "Everything okay, babe?" she asked, barely looking up from her phone. "Yeah," I lied, just thinking about work. That night, I couldn't sleep, the key card burning a hole in my thoughts. I had to know more. Lauren and I met 6 years ago at a barbecue in Denver, hosted by our mutual friend Jason. She was breathtaking, chestnut hair, green eyes that lit up a room, a laugh that made you feel like the only person there. I'm no slouch, tall, decent build, good at my job, but Lauren was out of my league, or so I thought. She was smart, ambitious, funny, and somehow, she picked me. I'm a homebody mostly, coding from my office, though I travel sometimes for tech conferences, Austin, Seattle, wherever. Lauren worked downtown, loved her job, or so she said. We hit it off fast. 8 months later, I proposed. A year after that, we were married. The first few years were golden. We bought a place in Boulder, close enough for her commute but quiet, perfect for us. Life was hikes on Sundays, road trips in the summer, her head on my shoulder at night. Then the late nights started. One meeting a week turned into 3. Then she'd roll in at 10, blaming client dinners or networking. She'd travel more, San Diego, Dallas, always with a solid excuse. I didn't push, but the fights came too small at first. I'd suggest a weekend away. "Michael, do you even think about my schedule?" She'd snap. Or I'd ask if she was okay. "God, you're always overanalyzing," she'd say. She pulled away, bit by bit, and I told myself it was just stress, that she'd come back. But she didn't. Her phone became a wall between us. She'd smirk at texts, tilt the screen away, delete messages when she thought I wasn't looking. I'd catch her staring into space, smiling at nothing, and I just knew that I needed proof. Googling how to trace a hotel keycard got me nowhere. Modern ones don't list hotels, and I wasn't about to test it at every front desk in Colorado. The receipt was useless without an address, so I watched her closer. She came home late 3 nights a week now, brushed off my invites to meet her coworkers. "You'd hate it," she'd say. Then I got smart. I ordered a tiny GPS tracker online, the kind for cars, small enough to hide. One afternoon, while she was upstairs, I stuck it under her car seat with adhesive. 30 seconds. Done. She never suspected. A few days later, I tested it. She said she was working late, but the tracker showed her miles from her office. Friday came and I planned a nice dinner, salmon, wine, a chance to reconnect. She walked in at 6:30, stunning in a dress I'd never seen, and barely glanced at the table. "Oh, babe, I forgot to tell you," she said, checking her phone. "I've got a work dinner, last-minute client thing." I nodded, jaw tight. "Really? Yeah, won't be late," she said, kissing my cheek before she left. I waited till her car pulled out, then opened the GPS app. The dot moved through Boulder, onto Highway 36, toward Denver. Not to a restaurant, but a cocktail lounge on Larimer Street, a place I knew wasn't for work. I grabbed my keys, got in my truck, and followed. Parking down the street, I watched through the lounge's window, Lauren, laughing, leaning into some guy in a sharp suit, his hand on hers. My knuckles whitened on the wheel. 2 hours later, they left, him leading her to a black BMW. I tailed them 10 minutes to a boutique hotel near Union Station. He opened her door, hand on her back, and they disappeared inside. That was it, proof, cold and hard. I sat there, numb, not angry, just done. She had no clue what was coming. I sat in my truck outside that hotel, the city lights blurring around me, and felt nothing. No rage, no tears, just a hollow calm. Lauren was in there with him, and I didn't need to see more. I could have stormed in, made a scene, but that's not me. Instead, I drove off, aimless at first, weaving through Denver streets until I stopped at a gas station on the edge of town. My phone was in my hand before I knew it, scrolling to Jason's name. My old college buddy, a contractor now, always steady when I wasn't. It rang 3 times. "Michael, man, been a while," he answered. "You free tonight?" I asked, my voice flat. "Yeah, you okay?" he said. "Not really." "Meet me at Mulligan's," he replied, no questions. Mulligan's was a dive bar in Boulder. Dim lights, worn booths, a jukebox humming old rock. I got there first, ordered a whiskey, and waited. Jason walked in, same as ever. Tall flannel shirt, a nod as he slid in across from me. "Talk to me," he said. I laid it all out, the key card, the tracker, watching Lauren walk into that hotel with some guy. He listened, beer untouched, then said, "Jesus, Michael. I don't know what to do," I admitted. "You staying home tonight?" he asked. I couldn't face her walking in, acting like nothing happened. Jason took a sip, then surprised me. "I've got a cabin in Nederland, empty right now. Stay there, figure things out." It hit me, space, quiet, a way out. I swirled my whiskey. "All right," I said. He handed me the keys, and I felt the first spark of control since this mess started. I went home that night, the house dark, Lauren still gone. Her perfume lingered, but it wasn't home anymore, just a shell of lies. I didn't pack then, I had to be smart. Next morning, I sipped coffee while she rushed around, phone in hand. "Big day?" I asked, casual. "Yeah, busy week," she mumbled, distracted, perfect. While she was at work, I started moving, clothes, my laptop, papers, small stuff she wouldn't miss. I drove it to Jason's cabin, a 2-bedroom hideaway in the mountains, pines all around. Over 3 days, I took more books, my jacket, tools, bit by bit. She never noticed. Thursday, she was up early, fixing her hair. "You're up early," I said from the doorway. "Flight to Dallas this afternoon, work trip, back Sunday," she replied, grabbing her suitcase. "Safe travels," I said, walking away. The second she left, I finished it, emptied my closet, loaded my truck, and left my wedding ring on the kitchen table with a note. I hope it was worth it. No rant, no drama, just the truth. I locked the door, drove off, and didn't look back. Phone off, I headed to Nederland, the highway stretching out like freedom. Sunday night, she got home. I didn't see it, but I knew. 18 missed calls by Monday morning, 31 texts. First, confusion. "Michael, where are you?" Then panic, "Call me now." Then anger. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I sat on Jason's porch, beer in hand, watching the sun sink, ignoring it all. By 8:30, she'd cracked. "Did something happen? Are you okay? This isn't funny." Then, Tuesday, the confession. "I messed up, Michael. It wasn't serious, just a mistake." A mistake. Months of sneaking, lying, and that's what she called it. I felt nothing, just relief. She'd said it herself, no going back. She kept texting. Wednesday, I miss you. It's not what it looks like. Thursday, you're a coward. Maybe I shouldn't have married you. I laughed, dry and bitter. 9 days in, she broke. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. Too late. By week 2, excuses, you were always traveling, I was lonely. Then, a month later, a divorce letter arrived. Uncontested. No fight. I signed it, mailed it back, done. Never spoke to her again. 3 years passed. I stayed in Netherlands a while, then moved to a small place in Boulder. I hiked, worked with Jason on projects, dated here and there, kept life simple. Then, one summer day, I was at Flatiron Brews, grabbing an iced coffee, when I heard her. Michael. I turned, and there was Lauren, different, shorter hair, no makeup, eyes heavy with something. We sat outside, her stirring her drink. I ran into Jason's wife, she said. She mentioned you're in Boulder. Why are you here, I asked. To tell you the truth, she said. Her life fell apart. Her affair guy ditched her when his fiancée found out, blamed her, cost her job. I lost everything, Michael, she said. You were right. She looked at me. I've thought about you every day. I need to see if we could try again. I sipped my coffee, calm. No, I said. Please, I've changed, she pressed. You can't undo it, I cut in, and I don't want you to. I don't love you, I finished. She whispered, I still love you, but I was done. Final, free. She emailed after, long please, then a pitch to move to Portland together. I blocked her, let her fade. One night, I stood on a ridge near my place, stars above, air crisp, and felt it. Peace. No ghosts, just me. I'd walked away, left that note, and built something better. Lauren was gone, and I was whole.